Okay, Martin, so just tell me what's happened.
Stepped onto the road, got hit by a car, sent me flying up in the air.
Have you got any pain anywhere?
My left leg.
Your left leg, okay. Well, try and keep that still for me. What I'm going to do, Martin, I'm going to do an examination, starting at your head and working my way down, just to check to make sure you've got no other injuries. If at any stage you feel any pain, let me know, will you? Okay. Okay, so I'll just explain what I'm doing. So, everything else is okay, though it's just your left leg that's causing a problem?
Yeah.
Okay, right, so I'm just going to look around the eyes, just for any bruising, can't see anything, any fluid coming out of the ears, which could indicate a serious head injury. What I wanted to do is, can you just close your eyes for me? Close your eyes completely. And when I say open them, I want you to open them. What I'm looking for there is pupil response. Okay, so open your eyes. Oh yeah, your pupils are operating really good. That lets me know we've got no suspicion of a significant head injury. A couple of classic signs and symptoms of a head injury would be eyes not reacting to light, bruising around the eyes, bruising behind the ears. I'm looking for any bruising behind the ears. There's no bruising behind the ears. That indicates a skull fracture at the back. I'm looking for fluid coming through the nose or the ears, which could be a fractured skull. So these are all classic signs and symptoms of a serious head injury. He's quite lucid chatting to me. He's very alert, so I'm satisfied he's not got a significant head injury. But I'm just going to back that up with a quick physical search. Now, rule of thumb is when you do a secondary survey, you're wearing gloves. Anytime your hands go out of sight, you check your hands for blood. So here we go, just checking behind the neck. Okay. Check my hands for blood, no blood. Feeling for any abnormalities. Now you notice I'm doing it simultaneously. The reason I do that is so that if I feel an unusual lump on this side, generally we're symmetrical. You have them on both sides. But if I feel any abnormalities or any unusual marks or scars, I can find that. So I'm going to work from the neck, happy with the neck, no unusual marks, lumps or swelling. I'm looking for any reaction from Martin, he can talk to me. I'm now going to do the collarbone, around the collarbone, top of the shoulders. Okay, any pain, Martin?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, with the chest. Now, if he's got any problem with his chest, that would affect his breathing. So I'm looking at his breathing and seeing if he's got laboured breathing. His breathing sounds okay. Doesn't appear to be struggling to breathe, but nevertheless, I'm going to do a chest check. I'm going to walk my hand across the chest. I'm using the back of my hand. Why am I using the back of my hand? Because if I use the front of my hand, it looks a bit inappropriate. So I use the back of the hand just to check. I'm checking his breathing as we do it. Got to get your hands right underneath the armpits just to make sure there's no part of his body's been compromised. From there, I've got to reach underneath. Now, when I take my hands under his back, if they come out and I've got blood on them, I'm going to be rolling him over, okay? Got a little bit of blood on my hand there, Martin, so I'm just going to roll you over towards me, okay? So I'm just going to roll you over very gently, okay? And if need be, cut that bit of clothing off so I can examine any possible injury. It's just a scrape. You've just scraped your back, your skin a little bit, that's all. But nothing too serious, okay? Okay, so I'm going to work my way down here. Abdomen, what you do down here, we used to do all this kind of pressurizing the abdomen, but we don't do that anymore. But what you can do is, if there's any suggestion that he's got pain down there, you could expose the skin so you can have a look to see if there's any excessive bruising. Bruising is a good indication of blunt force trauma, okay? With regards to the hips, if he's got any problems with his hips, like broken pelvis or anything like that, generally you'd see that because one leg would be longer than the other because the hips have been displaced. I can't see any of that. It's not unusual for people to wet themselves when they've got either spinal issues or they've got one leg longer than the other, but there's not. Now, he's got the left leg is injured. So what I'm looking for here is just feel on the pockets. I'm just going to go down the leg. Okay, so we've got pain there. Now, I've got blood on my hand here. So as you would anticipate, tough gut scissors are coming out. I'm going to cut the trouser leg off up to here, or I'm going to cut the trousers open up to here so I can expose that injury to see what's going on. If he had internal bleeding, I'd expect to see significant swelling and heavy, heavy bruising. All the time. How are you feeling now, Martin?
My leg still hurts.
Right, so I'm not going to move that leg. There's no need for me to move that leg. I'm going to make sure the ambulance are aware that I suspect he's got a possible fracture to the left leg. I don't know exactly where, that's what the x-ray is for. What I would look at though, is when I get to the ankle, I would expose his ankle, because what I want to look at is the colour of his skin there compared to the colour of his skin here. Why? Because if he's a reasonable colour here, and he's very pale here, what does that indicate to me? It indicates there's a circulatory issue. And that means we need to get the ambulance here a bit quicker and just let them know we've got a circulatory issue, we're not getting blood to the lower leg. If that's not treated quickly, he's going to lose the leg, okay? Obviously I don't tell him that. And then I do the same thing on this side, examine the leg, again checking at always check at the ankles. If you're checking the feet and you've got blood coming from the side of the foot, I might consider taking the trainer off, but I don't need to. Now a secondary survey shouldn't take longer than a couple of minutes, okay? Working at the head, it's called a top to toe survey is the other name for it. Starting at the head, working our way down, okay? All the time you're doing a secondary survey, you can do it on a conscious or an unresponsive casualty. Obviously, if it's an unresponsive casualty, you can still sometimes, if you touch something that's painful, even though they're unresponsive, they might still react to that pain response. Other places we can get information about a casualty, especially if they're unresponsive, is medical alerts on the wrist. Sometimes they wear them on their ankles, sometimes they're worn on a chain around the neck. Some people have medical alert watches, so if they've got a watch on, just check the watch. Check the pockets. They might have medication in there. Oh, sorry. They might have medication in there. Made me jump. Medication in there, and they might have a phone in there with their medic ID information on there. So these are things you need to consider. Anything else I think I need to cover? Obviously, I mentioned about chest injuries. Obviously, you've got different types of chest injuries, but I mentioned if they've got a chest injury, don't forget the chest is not just this area here, it's the side and the back, so you need to make sure you get your hands right behind them. But again, anytime your hands go outside, check them for blood. There's no point doing a secondary survey, get to the bottom and go, oh, I've got blood on my hands, where did that come from? Okay, and very importantly, don't forget to do the arms as well, okay? Both arms, and it's got to be a fingertip, skin level search on their body to make sure you're not missing anything. I think I mentioned a statistic in 2013 in London. The average stab victim in London in 2013 received 13 individual stab injuries. So you can imagine you've got something that's been stabbed, you've got to do a proper full-on secondary survey to ensure you've got every injury. Because the injury that you see, the slash on the arm or the slash on the face, might not be the one that's going to kill them. So you need to make sure you do a good, thorough secondary survey. Talking to casualty throughout, making sure that they are conscious and breathing. If they're an unresponsive casualty, how often should we check them? At least every minute, if not more. You're constantly monitoring their abdomen and chest, make sure it's still rising and falling throughout your secondary survey. What can get in the way of your ability to do that is their clothing. So if they're wearing heavy clothing, unzip it so you get in close so you can see everything and feel any abnormalities. Secondary survey, very, very important. Thank you. Okay, you okay there, Martin?
No, I've just been hit by a car.
You have? Have you got any injuries anywhere that you're aware of?
I don't know.
Do you know how fast the car was going?
Quite.
Okay, well try and keep your head still when I'm talking to you then. How are you feeling in yourself? Try and keep your head still if you can. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Martin. I'm going to actually restrict the movement in your head because I think you may possibly have a neck or back injury. Have you got any pain around the neck?
No, not bad.
Okay, right. So I'm just going to secure your head. Right, how's that feel?
Decent.
Okay, right. You're looking very pale. Have you got any injuries anywhere else that you're aware of?
Not aware of, no.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is, although you're saying you've got no injuries anywhere else, I'm going to do a quick secondary survey on you just to make sure, okay? So, can I have some help over here? Yeah. I'm just looking at his situation. How are you feeling?
All right.
Okay.
A little bit faint.
Okay, right. Well, what we can do is, have you got any injuries on your legs at all?
I don't believe so.
Okay, well what I'd like you to do, can you lift your knees up for me and just plant your feet flat on the floor for me if you can? Nice and easy. How's that feel, okay? Can you do us a favour, can you just support his knees, keep them together for me? That's it, just hold them together like that, that's good. How's that feel? Does that feel any better?
Better, yes.
Okay, right. Okay, hello? Can you hear me? Martin, can you open your eyes for me? Okay, Cara, can you just put the legs flat? what I want you to do, what I want you to do is I need to just check, make sure he's still breathing. Can you come around here? Just look to see, make sure I think I can see his stomach lifting up and down, so he is still breathing. Tell you what we're going to do, because I'm not sure what's happened, but his colour's fading. I think he might have some internal bleeding. He's been hit by a car, apparently. Not you on this occasion, but he's been hit by a car. So what we're going to do is, I think he might have a neck or back injury as well as possible internal bleeding. So we need to call an ambulance before we call the ambulance, because I need you to go off and get an ambulance for me. We're going to put him in the recovery position. So what I need to do is take his arm nearest you and take it out to the side. Okay, good stuff. Take it right out to the side. Okay, now if you can grab his leg, furthest away, lift it up gently, 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 gently. Keep your hand on top of the knee, the other hand on top of that knee. Now if you come down this end, keep your hand on that knee. Take this hand over there, bring it over and tuck your fingers into my hand over here. Tuck the fingers in, that's good, fantastic. Right, now if you put your hand on his shoulder, on 3, you're going to roll him towards you nice and gently, okay? But hold on, not yet, wait until I give you 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and roll. Nice and gently, 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 gently. Okay, right, now bring the knee out at right angles. Push the hip out, push the hip back up. That's good, nice and gently. Okay, now can you just check, make sure you're still breathing? Okay, right, can you ring for an ambulance and tell him I've got a male age 20. He is breathing, but he's unresponsive. Tell him he's very pale, cold, and clammy to touch, and I think he might have some internal bleeding. And we think he's got a neck or back injury as well. Tell him we've got him in the recovery position, but a supportive recovery position, but we need help on the hurry up. Can you do that? And come back with the defib and a first aid kit.